Hey everyone, it's Peek. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about the different battle items in Pokemon Unite. So there are just, a much smaller selection of choices compared to all the held items you can choose in the game, but of course that's because there are 3 held item slots. If you haven't already watched my video on explanation / tier listing of the different held items in the game, go check that out. It's on the channel. It's like 40 plus minutes long, so it's a bit of a long one, but a lot of information, and I honestly tried to talk as fast as I could in that one, so I did my best. But yeah, for this one we're going to be talking about the battle items in the game and which ones I think are the best. And this is going to be like general usage cases as far as like the tier list goes. I will just kind of like talk about each one generally and how you could use it as well, so get ready for that as well. So the first one, and ends up being the best one as well, is Eject Button. So Eject Button is basically, it just lets you dash a small distance in any direction from wherever you are. You are able to choose that direction, obviously, and it's on a 55-second cooldown, which is like pretty okay for a 10-minute game. Like you can get it like 8, 9, 10 times in a game if you're using it on cooldown, which I mean obviously with this kind of battle item you wouldn't want to be using it on cooldown because that defeats the whole purpose of what it's used for. But it really just, it provides so much utility. Like not only can you get out of very bad situations, but you can also just engage in ways that the game otherwise does not allow you to do, if that makes sense. And to better illustrate that point, oh, by the way, again, shout out to Pollux for making this tier list. Thank you, buddy. I'm going to showcase a user on Twitter who is a Japanese player who kind of made a few like little short tweet videos that showcased why I think Eject Button is so good pretty well. So let's just look at the very first one here. So for example, with Talonflame's Unite move, like you would normally crash into a wall. Like whatever you hit is going to stop you from dashing. However, what the player does here is actually, like, you'll see it. He activates it activates Eject Button right there as you hit the wall, and it just puts you over the wall and kind of allows you to reposition. And this would also work if you were like moving to the side, if like someone was sidestepping your ultimate as Talonflame, because you see there is like quite a long wind up of it, like flying into the sky, getting ready to dash, and then it dashes, and also shows you like the line where you will dash. So like super like high level play. Like if someone Eject Buttons out of the range of your Talonflame ult, you could literally Eject Button yourself to the left or the right side depending on which way they sidestepped and like catch them. I mean, so like otherwise, if there's a wall in front of you, like you're crashing into a wall, right? So that's kind of why Eject Button's so good here. Let's see, another example is of Snorlax here, where you can get such a crazy body slam distance. Like you see body slam has like that amount of range. It's not a lot, but like adding Eject Button on top of that is just kind of wild, like the distance you can engage. And I think this one of, oh, hold on, where's the other Snorlax one? This one as well showcases really well like what you can do with Eject Button. You'll see like the Snorlax body slams at like max range, catches them at the end, and then like basically hit Eject Buttons behind the enemies and can wall them towards its team. So super good. Like as I mentioned in yesterday's video, Snorlax is a very good tank. So let's see, what are some other ones here? Garchomp. So the interesting thing that it seems about Eject Button is that not only can you like change your character's positioning, but like if you Eject Button, you're dashing north, you can actually Eject Button west, and that will actually change the trajectory of a move like this of Garchomp's Dragon Rush. So like I don't know if that works for every single one, but honestly kind of crazy that you can use Eject Button to change the direction even of where you are dashing. So you know what, that might actually mess up the whole like Talonflame ult thing. Not actually sure how that would work, would have to test, but either way, like you can see here like how useful it can be. And here's another one similar to the Snorlax Body Slam one. Like if you're not gonna hit someone with your Earthquake and you want to, you can engage on them with this, and you're like immediately in their range, and you've hit them with Earthquake as well. So, and you're getting passive stacks as well with Earthquake, which, I mean, at the end of Earthquake, you want them to hit, so you're getting those 3 stacks on Garchomp, right? So, yeah, anyway, those are a few examples of, like, why it's so good. So, hopefully that convinces you, if you weren't already convinced on the fact that Eject Button is so good. Just realize that, like, if you don't have Eject Button, the amount of playmaking capability you have as any Pokemon is more limited than, well, I guess in most scenarios, more limited than a Pokemon that does take it. So, keep that in mind. That's enough for Eject Button. So for, I believe this Fluffy Tail or whatever, gonna put it in good options. I think it's actually really good. You do more damage to wild Pokemon that you hit with it. This only works on wild Pokemon. It's not like Smite or another like jungler type battle item type thing that you would see in other MOBAs. Like, you cannot use this on players at all. You can only use it on wild Pokemon, but you can use it on Zapdos, you can use it on Rotom, you can use it on Dreadnought. You can use it on Ludicolo, Bouffalant, Buffs, you name it. Like, if it's a wild Pokemon on the map, you can hit them with Fluffy Tail. And it's a very low cooldown, 25 seconds, which honestly makes it quite good. And, as I mentioned, you just increase damage to whatever target. And it stuns as well, which is quite handy, honestly. So, it's pretty good. Like, I hesitate to put it up there. I kind of want to put it in more niche / situational times, because honestly, like, even if you are a jungler Pokemon who's going to be fighting a lot of wild Pokemon in the jungle, as well as, you're going to be like hard committing for all of the neutral objectives such as Zapdos, Dreadnought, Rotom, sometimes you still want to take Eject Button if you are not able to engage well on targets, because like getting kills in a lane and then taking the neutral objective, either Rotom or Dreadnought, is going to be a huge part of this game. So obviously Fluffy Tail brings you 0 value to player combat situations. It happened again. Oh my gosh. Yo, Bleezus, thanks for the follow on Twitch. So basically this, I should really turn that off. Sorry, hopefully this doesn't bother anyone. You should just like bring this if you're confident that you don't need Eject Button. Does that make sense? Like, Eject Button is like almost always the best choice in most scenarios, but just like if you don't need this, then you should consider taking this. And the next one is going to be Full Heal. I'm actually going to put it up here because here's the thing about Full Heal. I think it's kind of slept on, and like if you learned to use this well enough, like it could be really good. I don't think there are many Pokemon who benefit from it yet, but there could in the future be Pokemon that are able to be CC'd out of their Unite move, but who don't want to be, obviously, so they can do the most damage with it. And I think Full Heal would fit for that type of Pokemon or that type of role. So like if you're going into a team fight, you want to make sure you are not CC'd because you're about to shred people with damage. For example, maybe even a Garchomp could take this, like, so that it can't be CC'd and that it can just rip an enemy team apart. Then you may consider going Full Heal. It's I think it would actually be good. Like if you were good enough to use it, which I think like eventually a lot of people will become like, will be at the point where they know exactly when they're about to be CC'd, and like in that case Full Heal could actually be pretty good. But again, like it doesn't have the same engage potential as Eject Button, so take that for what you will. Interesting that these are like almost like wow. The order is very interesting here. So Goal Boost I'm gonna put in the second spot of like good options here. I think it's pretty good. Like on Pokemon like Greninja, who are very easily able to get out with Water Shuriken and Smokescreen, I found myself using Goal Boost a lot in the Canadian beta in March. Not so much in the most recent Japanese network test, just because I was testing more with Eject Button and the different things I could do on all the Pokemon with it. But basically what this does is it like almost doubles, maybe even more, at least I think it was like 2.5 times score speed that it gave you back in the March beta. Like it was crazy how fast you could score an entire 50-point score so quickly, like probably as fast as like a 10-point score normally. And it's just crazy good for those scenarios. I mean, and this also synergizes with attack weight, special attack specs, and Ao's cookie, you know, because they all depend on you scoring. So if you're having a hard time scoring, you have 50 points in your inventory or your Unite ball, and you just cannot score them, like, you're probably gonna wish you had this, because there will be a lot of instances where you have like a 1/2 second window where you can score, where you normally wouldn't be able to score 50 points, but with goal boost you could. I mean, even with like a smaller amount of points, like 20, 30, something like that, you can get it off super quickly with goal boost. And the thing about goal boost is it lasts a long time. However, the one downside is 120-second cooldown. It is by far the longest cooldown out of all the battle items. You'll see 50, 40, 40, 25, 40, 30, 55. Like, none of them even come close to the cooldown time of goal boost. So you have to kind of weigh that in your mind, like, okay, I'm only going to be able to use my battle item like 3-ish times per game, maybe 4 in most cases. Like, is that worth it? You know what I mean? So Eject Button's just so good. Like, it's hard to justify goal boost unless you can be sure that A, you will position very smartly and not like mess up in that regard, and B, that you like have a way to get out if you do. Like, for example, you know, Greninja Smokescreen, super good for escaping, and Water Shuriken, like the ability to kite an enemy / run away from them, if you're not familiar with that term, as you're doing damage to them and healing. Like, Greninja's the perfect usage case, I think, for like maybe warranting taking this item. However, like, Eject Button is also really strong on it. So, you know, well, let's move on. Potion basically heals you for a small percentage of your HP. It's not a lot, but the thing about Potion is it's very short cooldown, 30 seconds. And, you know, you're getting like probably 19 uses of that throughout the game. Okay, probably not 19, but, you know, like maybe like 15 or so if you're using it on cooldown, which, I mean, the type of Pokemon who would take Potion is the type of Pokemon who's just like, sole job is, I'm going to sit on this goal and hold it so that my team can make plays throughout the rest of the map and make sure that like nobody does anything here. So for example, a Snorlax with Potion, you could justify that. However, like, you know, Eject Button's really good on Snorlax, as we saw, for like team fight engages and stuff like that. But, you know, you don't need it on Snorlax and other tanks. So like, if you had a very sustain-oriented Pokemon that you were playing, and like your whole objective in a game and you're playing with your friends is like, yo, I'm literally just gonna sit on this bottom goal all game while you guys just destroy them across the rest of the map. So, you know, I mean, I think it's good, but as you see here, it's niche / situational. It's not exactly you know, how do I all right, whatever. It's not exactly always gonna be good. It's just like in very specific usage cases, I could see it being used. And the same goes for Smokescreen. Smokescreen slows enemies in an area around you. So, and it's a 40-second cooldown, pretty good. So it just creates like a pretty big circle. It's like fairly sizable, and it slows enemies around you. Just good for like, I don't know, if, for example, maybe if you're like a Charizard, you could take this if you really wanted to make sure that you could keep up to enemies. If you didn't have the red buff at the time, just like dive into an enemy group and pop Smokescreen, and you should be able to just like do insane amounts of damage as Charizard, as you're just like wherever they walk, you just follow them and keep auto attacking because you can move while you attack as Charizard. So that's Charizard's whole thing, right? So that's gonna do it for like these categories. I'm just gonna like pop these both in here now and tell you that I think these are pretty suboptimal. X attack and X speed. Again, like you could argue that like each of these is situational, but I think like in the situations where you want these, there's really just no point. Like the bonuses last for such a short time. So X attack raises your attack and special attack for a short time, and like when it says short time, it genuinely means short time. It's probably no longer than like 3 or 4 seconds. It feels really short. And the same goes for X speed. Like it's a very brief speed boost, 50-second cooldown. Again, you could like say that you wanted to use this on Charizard, but again, like why wouldn't you just take Smokescreen? That way your entire team can catch the enemies, not just you. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's hard to justify using either of those. Again, when there are just so many better options up here. So in my opinion, they're suboptimal. I think they're fun to play with. Like X attack, it doesn't seem to do a ton, but like in, for example, the thing about these items in like level 3 fights, when both like teams are just walking to their different lanes and places on the map for the first time, like X attack makes a huge difference in like early fights. So if you see that the enemy has X attack and they're in the same lane as you, you need to be wary that they will out damage you like by a very large margin, especially early game. Late game, I really think these items fall off, which is another reason why I just don't think they're that good. And you're better off going something like Eject Button. But yeah, anyway, that is my opinion on those. Hopefully that made it clear. Nice. We only went to 15 minutes. Solid. Good job, everyone. We did it. A little bit of a shorter video than yesterday's. Or no, not yesterday's. I recorded it yesterday, but yeah, you guys saw it 2 days ago. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I think, like, again, like Eject Button, as we saw, like these different usage cases are so cool that you could like potentially change it up with, like, especially something like this, like just being able to reposition your character and make sure your Unite move hits is like huge, honestly. So that's going to do it for today's video. So when you guys are seeing this, Pokemon Unite launches tomorrow, which is actually so exciting. I'm really pumped. I don't know what the video will be tomorrow because I'm hoping that the game comes out like overnight so I can make like a few videos for you guys to have like the next, like on the launch day morning, at least for those of you in the West. For those of you on the eastern side of the globe, it will probably be like your evening time. Usually when my videos come out, it'll be around the same time. So yeah, I mean, I'm literally so excited. Like, I've been waiting an entire year for this to happen since the game was announced last year, and it's been great so far. The amount of content we've been able to put out together with you guys in the community, literally I couldn't do this without you, so just thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's really been so fun to do these videos and interact with you all, and as I've mentioned before, we're just going to keep chugging along, keep doing them every single day, and see where we get. So again, thanks so much for the support, everyone. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you've made it this far in the video, I would probably imagine you are, but yeah. And share this video with a friend who's curious about the battle items or someone you want to play with in the future once the game launches tomorrow. I'm literally so excited. Sorry, it's a little cheesy, but anyway. Thanks again so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for all the launch day stuff that I'm going to be putting out. Hopefully a lot of stuff, such as like an optimal settings guide for you all to change before you play your first game, because I think that sort of thing is super important to do before you start playing. So anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one tomorrow when the game launches. Peace out.